Yes, David, you're on the video, by the way. I've just pressed play.
Would you talk about interpretation from the start?
Well, so you focus your question on interpretation 2, because that's what we've been asked about. But you can mention interpretation 1, definitely, in your answer. See, I've written here, you may also refer to interpretation 1. So it's a useful point. Right. For example, the extract states that it ended segregation in schools. Whereas if I look at the Quizlet, and I've explained this all to you just a couple of minutes ago, I know that in 1957, there were still 2.4 million black students. Yeah, I'm live. There's still 2.4 million black students in segregated schools.
So have you got any ideas?
No. So, even though Brown versus Topeka officially said that segregated schools had no place in American society, yes, even though it says that it had no place in American society, there's still 2.5 million students in segregated schools. They were mostly in the South. One thing that you won't get from the Quizlet is that in the rest of the country, this actually stopped segregated schools and integrated the school system. It was only in the South, in the ex-slave states, where they really tried to cling on, in a lot of cases, to having segregation in schools and in other things as well.
Wait, so how do I go into your live? How do I go into your live?
Live?
Yeah,
I'm not doing YouTube live, I'm just recording myself now, which I'll then, at the end of the lesson, upload onto my YouTube channel. Now, interpretation 2 says that this decision caused a massive outbreak of opposition, and we know that's true. And we know that at, for example, Little Rock High School, they had to bring in soldiers to make sure the students could actually go to school. There was people threatening to kill them. There was people saying they won't go to school with black people. There was protests. The governor of the state in which Little Rock High School was in response to the fact that the government made the students go there, shut all the schools for a year. So all of that information that you know and is on the Quizlet tells you that interpretation 2 has got some reasons why you might think it's true. Because it did cause loads of opposition. It did cause the Ku Klux Klan to do loads of stuff against it. However, there is also evidence which may make people disagree with interpretation 2. Because Brown versus Topeka sort of set the ball rolling. In the courts, the Supreme Court kept ruling in favour of the civil rights movement after this. Interpretation 1 mentions this. You look at interpretation 1, it talks about the success. And it even mentions the word success. Interpretation 1's got its faults. It says about segregation in schools ending, and it didn't immediately end across the place. Outside the deep south, maybe. But it talks about success and how they use this to get other successes, like the Montgomery bus boycott. The Supreme Court ruled in favour of the black people. Yep. Like the college student, James Meredith. They ruled in favour that James Meredith would have to be allowed to go to the university he wanted to go to. So Brown versus Topeka might not have ended segregation like that, might have caused a lot of opposition, as interpretation 2 says, but interpretation 2 completely ignores the fact that it was a success that the civil rights movement could then copy with greater success later on down the line. And it's just overly negative. It did have an impact. That girl did get to go to the white school. So you talk about the things, the evidence that you've got of Brown versus Topeka leading to more successes. Little Rock High School, the government gets involved. James Meredith, the government gets involved. Montgomery bus boycott, the government gets involved. And in each case, the Supreme Court rules that black people should not be separate from white people. And it was Brown versus Topeka which got the ball rolling. There you go.